All right, so we've been using either polyphonic or rhythmic algorithms for elastic audio, but there's also something called Varispeed, which can be useful in certain circumstances. So right here, we've got the funky drummer. Right? Now, if we look here, this is my tempo map. And you see I used a pencil and I drew in this little V. Watch what Varispeed does. It emulates a tape recorder slowing down and speeding up so that it not only gets slower, but the pitch goes down. One more time. So that's a cool kind of automation, right? You guys should have something in your plugin folder called SciFi, right? I'm not an expert on this. I just played around with this a little bit and I got something really cool out of it. So let me undo this bus and let me play this and you'll hear how the sound has changed. Let me mute these things. Right, so it's adding a rhythmic pitch, right? And I just played around with these things. It's got a keyboard. You know, if I change, that's at 344. So if I bring that, let's see, where is that? Right, so the rhythm of the drum is triggering this frequency here, and it's giving you a kind of an interesting rhythm. Now, it's a little bit plain and unadorned and a little bit boring, so we can spice that up. So if we take this 3-band EQ, watch what I do with this, and I'll show you how it's done. Oh, and what I do is I automate the sends, right? I drew all these things in these rectangles. So it's only sending audio to that SciFi plugin in these spots here, and then it's dry. That's how you get the nice rhythm. But watch this. All right, here we go. So what I'm doing here is I am changing the pitch. Like I'm changing the way that the EQ is. And what I did here was this is advanced, right? So this is sort of more for next semester, but this is a 7-band EQ. That means that there's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places where you can do frequency dependent volume control. And what I like about this one is that it has a high-pass filter and a low-pass filter that you can engage at the same time, right? So I have them both in, and I set up my frequency, and that's great. And then what I did was, these are all the different frequency bands. I'll go over this a little bit, maybe I'll go over this next week. But what I did was I turned this one off, and I turned these two off, and the yellow one here is the mid frequency, and you see how there is a little green thing down here? I automated this. So I went here and mid-band frequency. I just added that, and then that becomes automatable, right? And so I played around with different levels here. Yeah, I didn't, what's up with this? I didn't do a good job with this. There we go. That should be a little bit better. All right, let's listen to this. Yeah, so what I should do is just bring this down here, and I can use the trim tool. Bring this up, and bring this down. Okay, so now it should bounce around. So it changes the timbre, and you can really, you can really play around with these things. So dee dee, sort of playing around with that. So that adds a little more animation to that. How do you bring the EQ again? So you go to an insert and you go to multi-channel plugin, and if you go to Avid or EQ, it's just the EQ3 7-band or EQ3 1-band. Those are the two. We've been just using the 1-band, and if you just use the 1-band, that's perfectly fine. And if you automate the low-pass filter, that's great. This is just a little bit more advanced. So the next thing I did here was that I added this thing called LoFi, and only on this SciFi aux track. So here, when we get to here, so let's do this. If I mute this and then I change this to pre, we'll be able to just hear the affected signal. So it'll come in right here. Just adds a little beef to it. And I could play around with the saturation, the distortion. That might be a little bit too much. And then the last thing I did was that I added some delay. And we're going to go over delay before the class ends in a little bit more detail. But basically, this is mod delay 3. It's the delay that we teach with. And it's a stereo delay, and this is the left side and the right side. And I've got it synchronized to tempo, and I've got it set up for a dotted eighth note on the left and an eighth note on the right. And I've got the mix right here set to these two numbers, 39 and 31. And then I've got some feedback. So let's listen to that, what that does. Now let's listen to everything together. Okay, so more automation, processing the sound, much more advanced, much more complicated, but maybe you can get an idea from that.